Ahoy.
Hello, everyone. And it sure is everyone. I think this is all 10,000 people.
We made it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the actual convention.
SpacerCon.
SpacerCon. Who understands that reference? SpacerCon. Okay.
Some of you have done your homework. Well
Yeah.
done.
And some of you will learn very shortly.
Yes. Yes. I guess let's go ahead and get started with some introductions before we begin. Ulysses?
Oh, yeah. So I am Ulysses, and if you can say my last name, you get a cookie. I guess I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. I guess I make videos on Instagram and TikTok, and maybe someone has seen it. My mom has seen it.
Yes. Yes.
My mom thinks it's funny, so there we go.
It is funny. You make awesome content, and you put so much into it. I'm just gonna be so lovey today. So sorry about that. I'm Audrey or Audenalcium. Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Oh, okay, enough. I am so excited to be here today. I make content on the internet about the Cosmere, which must be a real surprise to everyone here. I do it on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and I'm also a digital Shardblade artist for people.
They're beautiful.
Which we can talk about more later, because this is Scadrial, and they don't have Shardblades on, well, maybe one day. I don't know about Era 3. We'll get into that. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here and to talk to all of you and share our theories. Mistborn Era 3 is like,
Wild.
it's coming.
It's going to be crazy.
My name is Steve. I make videos on the internet about a local indie author named Brandon Sanderson.
Woo!
I started making videos in 2018. I was the first content or Cosmere-focused YouTube account that I know of. So I've been around for a hot minute. Thank you. Come visit my booth, C10. Yeah, I am happy to be here. One short plug. I'm launching a podcast next year. So everyone go to thenextideal.com and subscribe to my podcast. It's going to be great. I'll tell you more about it if you come to my booth.
I am Jason. I go by Jasonian on YouTube. Well, thank you. I make video essays shot on location that look like they're inside the Cosmere. They're a lot of fun to make.
Yeah. Okay. So before we really get into things, I just want to take a quick gauge. Who is excited about Mistborn Era 3? And I have one more question. Whose favorite planet is Scadrial? Okay. I was kind of expecting not. Okay, all right. Enough with the booze. We're on Scadrial today. We're gonna go ahead and do a quick spoiler warning. You should know that if you're here, we're gonna be talking about Mistborn Era 1 and Mistborn Era 2. I know the gall of us. Mistborn Secret History, some Wind and Truth stuff. Nothing, I don't think anything too, well, actually something really big from Wind and Truth happened. If you could believe it, big things happened in Wind and Truth. And also some information from, just barely touching on, but not really plot relevant. Trust of the Emerald Sea, Sunlit Man, Isles of the Emberdark, WOBs, Words of Brandon, if you're familiar with those. And then the Worldcon preview reading of Ghostbloods. So people who understood the SpacerCon reference may have, or clearly have read it or listened to it. Can I see a show of hands of everyone who has already read or listened to? Okay, perfect. Well, if you guys are okay
4%.
with it, yeah, I say we can kind of tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that now. Jason?
So, SpacerCon.
Welcome.
This is the convention. What convention, though? So, in the preview chapters, we follow two characters. The first character is in the Ellendale Basin, and her name is Avon. And what she's going through right now is trying to get into a convention that she doesn't have tickets for because, she didn't have the money. But personally, I think SpacerCon should have done a lottery system. This would have completely negated her issues of trying to get in because she could have had the money earlier.
Art mirroring life. That's.
Yeah, she could have at least managed her expectations that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so we see as Avon is trying to get into SpacerCon, a very different Elendel than we have previously seen at the end of Era 2. This is an Elendel with flying cars, with 2 lanes of traffic, one above and one on the normal street. It is allegedly 1980s technology with flying cars and steel fields. So, okay, Brandon, what 1980s did you grow up in?
I was going to say, you don't remember that?
Yeah, Nebraska is a different world, you guys.
I've never been, can't confirm. But I think that is most of what we learn about SpacerCon, except the reason that Avon wants to go is there is a mysterious guest, an author of these sci-fi adventures, these spacer stories that she wants to meet. And we can rampantly speculate about who this mysterious individual is.
And I think we might.
We just might.
To go a little bit further into the reading, we can kind of infer from the reading who Avon is related to, which is really exciting. We can infer that Avon is a descendant of Tindwyl. Yeah, who just went, aw. Tindwyl fans? Yeah, Tindwyl's the best. Tindwyl's the best. And we really do. We see some really interesting things, and also we see that the mists are acting a little funky, which unprecedented times.
Never been known to do that before.
Yeah. I read it, I said, what?
Mists are being weird?
That's so insane. And then, let's see, what else can we kind of say about the preview reading? We learned quite a bit. We get another POV from the other side of Scadrial. We finally get a Malwish point of view character in Bastric, and he has a little bit of a run-in, not to go too deep into what he's got going on in the preview chapters, but he's got a cute little daughter, and they're going in the garden, and they're talking about bugs that have interesting markings, which kind of reminds me of some maybe species of people in the Cosmere that are really into or are made of bugs.
You can't just say species of people. That's like, I mean, you're not wrong, but it's also uncomfortable.
It is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, are they animals?
Well, I mean, in Emberdark, there's this line that they say that the Scadrians are a subspecies of human, which I thought was odd.
Technically true.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah.
all these planets that are coming together, we're getting Sanderson Star Trek. I'm getting a little ahead, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
But
So I
they're
derailed
all
us.
subspecies of human, which I still don't know how I feel about that, even though it's technically true. Just, people are people, sleepless are people.
Sleepless
Bugs are people too.
Hashtag sleepless are people. Post it. But Bastric has some really interesting stories about right versus wrong and whether it's more important to be right or honest. And there's some really cool, maybe foreshadowing stuff happen there. But at the end of his chapter, he gets a visit from a familiar face, a Mr. Dlavel. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Dlavel. A brother of one Eyatel. So
There we go.
yeah. Everyone's like, familiar?
The immediate
Yeah, so
resonated.
there's a lot of weirdness going on with this cameo. I don't even know if I can call it a cameo because it's a preview chapter. 'Cause I don't know what happens next. But last time we saw Dlavel, he was not very happy with a certain spiked one because his sister is no longer with us.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Alas.
Rest
Let's
in
see. How do I
peace.
make a Ghostblood symbol?
Triangle.
Oh, I did it.
I'm very good.
I'll teach you later.
Okay.
I'll teach you later. It'll be our Bridge 4 salute.
Perfect.
Sign of the symbol. I don't know. But yeah, so I would say that's kind of like the big stuff. We've got a POV from Elendel, who is of Terrace lineage related to the wonderful Tindwyl. We have a POV from Bastric. Finally getting some more juicy information about the Malwish, who, I mean, as we can see from Future Cosmere, are suck. Yeah, they're getting a little weird out there. So kind of, there's just a lot of interesting context that we get from it that I feel like we would be remiss to not at least inform you if you haven't read it yet. You should watch the video. Brandon, of course, is a very swell at reading. things that he's written and otherwise, but it's or read it on the Coppermind Arcanum website. Also, shout out to the 17th Shard. And shout out, they have a Patreon that you could contribute $1 to a month to help. If you use the Coppermind at all, please consider it. They put a lot of time, energy, and effort into that. So $1 a month to, it's better than Wikipedia, like sending you a million emails and pity stories. I'm just peddling for 17th Shard. But I think we're ready to move to the next little bit, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the original intentions of the second Mistborn trilogy. Who kind of has been like around and has heard some of the murmurings about like Mistborn serial killer or Nigrosil misting and yeah, I don't think we're getting any of that. So there's been some interesting things that we've learned about that. Did anyone, who knows about how, I'm gonna keep asking you guys questions, so stay on it. Who knows that Wax and Wayne wasn't intentional? Yeah. So Wax and Wayne, this was supposed to be the second Mistborn trilogy. This was not supposed to be the third, but Wax and Wayne took off with its amazing start and its explosive ending. All right. You guys got it. I knew you guys weren't gonna like that.
Again, not wrong, but also uncomfortable.
That's what I'm here for.
Nailing it.
Yeah.
Badumts.
Keep you on your toes. Try not to be canceled, party. Anyway, we are looking at a 2028 release for this. So we're gonna start getting into our theories, and then we're gonna break it down by people, planet, and then Cosmere. And then once we've shared some of ours and debated, we're gonna hand it off to you, and we're gonna listen to you guys tell us about your theories, and we'll kind of deliberate on those. Sound good? Yeah.
I welcome your unhinged and rampant speculation, please.
It's what we're here for.
Yeah, we've got some crazy ones.
Aluminum foil hats off, everyone.
Yeah. Be open to the crazy. So talking about the people, Ulysses, you had a really interesting theory about the people in Mistborn Era 3. Do you want to share?
So referring to like the actual like Ghostbloods?
Well,
are we going to get that, or are we going to get into like Mistborn?
I'm interested in the
Mistborn?
wax one, yeah.
The wax one? Okay. So this is just, now bear with me, y'all. I have a 3-month-old who is not sleeping. So if I mispronounce anything or say something completely wrong,
Or completely lapse unconscious.
or completely lapse if I fall asleep, just
We're just happy to be here with you.
I'm just happy to be here. Anyways, okay. So
Yeah, applaud for fatherhood. That's appropriate.
Yes.
That's involved with the theory, so.
I will be more awake in like 3 months. Okay, so go. Sorry. So I hear some laughing. Everyone's like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." This is my 3rd child. I haven't slept in like 8 years. Anyway, Mistborn. That's what we're here for, not parenthood. So, what was I even saying anymore? Mistborn.
Yeah, we're talking about
talking about
Wax and what he's got going on.
Okay. Do y'all remember how? So we can do spoilers. Like, this is complete spoilers. Right?
Complete spoilers,
Okay.
yeah.
So in Mistborn Era 2, in the Lost Metal, Wax, he during the explosion, he ends up inhaling. Don't do drugs, but inhaling the Lycerium.
Lerasium.
Yeah.
Lerasium. See, that's what I'm
Trying
saying.
to split.
Lerasium.
Split at metal.
Yes, Lerasium, which turns them into a Mistborn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brandon, if I'm not mistaken, has said that he intends to bring Mistborn back into, like, I'm not making that up, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's
Or
one
he-
of his like Raphos.
Okay. Yeah,
'cause
But
it
it
would be-
seems it's not impossible.
Okay, so the Mistborn, according to Ulysses, is that he will bring Mistborn back. Now, I know that someone being a Mistborn doesn't necessarily guarantee that their children will be Mistborn. But Wax and Steris, there's a possibility, because it's supposed to be 50 years later, right?
Yeah.
That they could have had a 3rd child, and that 3rd child either is a Mistborn or maybe is a very powerful misting.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe his grandchild could be a Mistborn. Basically, my theory is that Brandon will reintroduce Mistborn through Wax's line.
That makes a lot of sense. I reread The Lost Metal in anticipation for this panel, and there's a line near the beginning where Wax says that Steris wants a third, but he's unsure. And I think that's more fuel on the fire for your theory. That's if Steris wants something, she usually finds a way to get it.
Yeah. A woman with a plan. Yeah, I like that theory a lot, especially because with Wax, it's like a faint smell on him, the Mistborn. Like, you know what I mean? He's not
weird.
Stinky. I mean, he's a little stinky.
Like,
that's okay.
I've been thinking about this as well, because like the first Mistborn were created through eating a bead of Lerasium, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
That harmonizes your soul with preservation, turning you into a Mistborn. And so I think it's kind of weird that a low dose would produce a weaker Mistborn when it's still harmonizing their soul with preservation's tone. So I don't know if he's like a weaker full Mistborn or if he is a Lerasium-powered Mistborn, because we've only seen him burn the other metals subconsciously in the Lost Metal.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's not going to get another story. So I guess we'll just have to
Yeah.
Well,
wait and
apart from
find
the
out.
comic books.
What?
What?
Oh, come on, people.
Sorry, we're fake fans.
Wait, go on.
This is absolutely confirmed. Like, there's in Mistborn Era 3, there are going to be comic books of Wax and Wayne.
Yes, sorry.
That,
You're
like-
right.
I thought you were
And
saying the
I
word
wouldn't be
comic
surprised
books.
at all if they. I mean, we have yet to get the actual Way of Kings from the Way of Kings, because Brandon knows we like Way of Kings, so he put Way of Kings into our Way of Kings.
Yeah.
But we will probably, in some form, get at least a few pages of the Wax and Wayne comic books in Mistborn Era 3.
Yeah, like the,
Oh, I'm so
like
hyped.
the sheets.
Like broadsheets. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to get comic book pages, I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun.
Yes.
It's really interesting about the idea of bringing back Mistborn. We've been talking a lot just amongst ourselves about these interesting, we've got Harmony, and oh my gosh, before I say anything else, we forgot something about the preview reading that I feel like everyone has to know. So this is connected to what I'm saying. I'm not completely just interrupting myself. But in the preview reading, there is a newspaper or something that Avon sees that reads, "Discordant kills 3 in the 6th quadrant," or
Some
something.
octant. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, octant, you're right. But this idea of discordant, what is it? Is it harmony? Is it, well, as we know from the Terrace prophecies, he will become discord and the people will love him for it. And I mean, I have discord, but I think it's, he's gonna get really good at communicating, finally. Lots of threads. That was like a steel pusher joke. Anyway, so I think this idea of like discordant is also important to the conversation because of what I was planning to just say about what we see the set doing at the end of, or in the Lost Metal, like taking the spikes and like pulling the preservation out of people. And this idea of discordant, one of my kind of theories around it being, everyone thinks it's maybe like a serial killer or like a fringe religious group. I think it might be a sickness, and I think that would be kind of cool. It's a little COVID-19 coded. So.
Miss Sickness 2, Electric Boogaloo.
That's right. We've had Miss Sickness before, but this idea of like discordant, if it is like the power of discord affecting the people, is that because this preservation getting pulled out of them means that discord as it gets formed becomes more powerful in the people of Scadrial? And like that's kind of something we're going to get into in a minute with the planet, but the reason why this was significant to what we were just talking about is the spirit web and creating a Mistborn, like if a Mistborn is born again, Mistborn.
Mistborn again. Yeah.
Mistborn again, return of the Mistborn. This idea of a Mistborn returning in that way, if it can happen with one, like with this removal of the preservation, does it become less and less possible with like for anyone to be born as a Misting without the power of preservation? If we like remove it from their bloodlines, like or their spiritual DNA, physical DNA, there's
There's tie-ins.
What was Brandon thinking? This is so involved. I'm sure none of you are really interested in the deep intricacies of the Cosmere, or else,
Wrong panel.
But anyway, to go kind of on that tangent, there's so many interesting implications about bringing Mistborn back in a society, because Jason, you talked a little bit about before this disappearance of the use of physical metals in the future.
Yeah, so I was planning on talking about this in the planet section, because what I find most interesting about Era 3 so far, because we don't know that much about it, is how it gets us from the end of Era 2 to where we see Scadrians in Space Age. Because there's a lot going on with Scadrians in Era 4. But one of the things we don't see in any Space Age book is metallic arts being used not through mechanized means. We see a steel push used, but that's only after manipulation of a device on a wrist. We only see medallions used for feruchemy. We don't see any Metalborn use any power without machine assistance.
To be fair, but to be fair, I think the only people we see are Malwish as well.
True.
So
at this
that
point,
could be significant as well.
What is a Malwish in the future?
What is Malwish?
On planetary scales, continents become less distinct. That's absolutely
If you're part of the Malwish Empire, are you not technically Malwish?
touche.
Yeah, fair. Well, let's not get into too much real world history.
Colonialism gonna colonialize.
The Rose Empire would like to know my location.
But keeping kind of on the people topic, spiritual DNA just makes me go, I lose my mind. There are some confirmed people we'll be seeing again based on WOBs. And also we can speculate a little bit on familiar faces. I think with 50 years in the future, we can kind of all assume we're not seeing Wax again. Yeah.
Maybe in a retirement home.
It's fine. I'm not gonna cry about it.
Yeah.
I might cry about it just later.
I mean, it would be interesting. Maybe his life...
He could be an old man. He could be 90.
Well, he does have that moment, right, when he has the spike and he sees Marsh at the end of the Lost Metal and he's like, is this going to make me like you? Do I have to live forever? Like, Wax has a real anxiety about that, which is fair, I guess.
I had a theory for a long time that we were going to eventually see Wax in the second arc of Stormlight, because we get the epigraphs from the letters from Harmony talking about he's forging a sword that can both preserve and destroy. And so I was sure Wax was going to show up on Roshar at some point. Maybe not at this point because of Wind and Truth reasons. Yeah. It's got weird.
Because that's at least 80 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe his daughter or granddaughter.
Hey.
His Mistborn kid, yeah.
Mistborn kid.
We need more Mistborn.
I mean, it's called Mistborn. We have to have a Mistborn.
We have to have someone
Mistborn.
born of mist, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have a question, just because what we have on the screen here, the main person you see is, there you go. Who thinks here that Harmony, our dear friend Harmony, is going to become less harmonious and fully turn to discord by the end of this series? What if you think he already is? Who thinks Harmony already is discord? Ooh.
Less hands, but
Yeah.
still
Okay.
some.
Perhaps always was. Ooh. And we phase out. End of panel.
That's it. That's the discussion. We're done.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to the con,
Did you think about
everybody.
that? Yeah. It breaks my heart. Sazed is my favorite. Is Sazed anyone else's favorite character? Yes. I keep saying this. If anything happens to him before the end of the Cosmere, I will do something that lands me on the national news. Like, this is not gonna be okay for anyone within a 10-mile radius of me. But I think it breaks my heart to see him in this position. Of fighting these things, and some people argue, is he even Sazed anymore? once you ascend.
I see some shaking heads.
Yeah, and your name and your name and your name I'm gonna need. 10-mile radius. I'm not threatening Dragonsteel. I'm not threatening anyone. Not seriously. So I think
For legal reasons, that is a joke. Yeah.
No, I think with this idea of like Sazed turning, and then we saw some interesting stuff happening with Bleeder in Era 2 and Lessie, and this like Kondragon rogue, which seemed to be pretty much tied to Trell, or Bobadin or whatever. But we do have some other Kondra that we'll be continuing to see. We know for a fact we'll see Milan again. In fact, based on a wob from... Oh, wait, yeah, but give it up for Milan.
Milan.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the appropriate response. We know we'll be seeing her again. Brandon even made it sound in a wob like we would see a lot of her in Era 3. So, like he said something like, I'm saving a lot of my Milan stuff, for Era 3. So that's super. I'm a Kondra super fan, so that's so exciting. Do we think we'll see like Tinsoon and Ulam and some other people as well?
I think so. I think we will see Tensoon and a bunch of Kondra whenever Sazed does the thing that Ed talked about, that we all know what he was talking about, which we don't actually know.
Very excited. I see you. Yes.
We're all. Who else? Who's read Isles of the Emberdark? Show of hands.
Okay, we're in good company.
Yeah, thank goodness. Can we just real quick take a minute about that? Anyone else remember Ed, our favorite Arcanist with his Pathian earring? And he did it on purpose, for sure. For those who have read it but maybe don't remember, Ed has this whole bit about being a Pathian and how, I don't know who like questions his religion, but he's like, okay, he's actually really nice, the guy that I talked to, and he's also the only shard to ever perform the... And then someone like cuts him off. The only known living shard? And it was a...
The R-I-T-E, yes, the right.
The right of.
Now, it's strange because we have a couple data points that indicate that Sazed does make it through Era 3 into Era 4, but whether or not he does so as Harmony or Discord or by dropping his shard to perform said rite is unclear. We just know that he does some things eventually in Era 3, and we'll just all have to raffo through it.
Yeah. Are you guys ready to kind of move on to the planet?
Yeah, let's expand our view.
Excited.
Zoom out.
Whoa! Imagine that like we were on one data point, we go... If we had a bigger budget, this would have been like a super cool transition.
We had a budget?
Yeah. If I could draw anything other than swords, I would have gone crazy on this. So I personally, when it comes to the planet, I've got a lot of questions. We have Elendel. We left Bilming no longer in the hands of autonomy, is that right?
Yes. I mean, autonomy, by the end of Lost Metal, seems like has stepped back from the planet. Maybe. At least not actively invading anymore. We still have like the society, the city that autonomy built in, is that Bilming?
No, it's a different city.
Different city, in the other city. You just read it, remind me.
Other city?
Yeah. Where Lost Metal happens.
Trell?
I mean, the Lost Metal happens in Elendel and Bilming.
Oh yeah, in
it is
Bilming. I was in Bilming. So
wait, then where do they go in Bands of Mourning?
They go to New Saran.
they go to New Saran in Bands of Mourning.
New Saran. I know what I'm talking about, guys.
We got a map right here.
I wrote this, which means I knew it was Bilming when I wrote it. Anyway, yeah, some interesting stuff. And talking about the planet, I think it's a good time to talk about the Ghostbloods.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's literally called Ghostbloods, like the Hero 3 Ghostbloods.
Do you guys think the Ghostbloods are going to be in this book?
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
So,
oh, no?
That's one of the weird things. In most of my speculation about Era 3 into Era 4, I don't really think about the Ghostbloods, despite it being called Ghostbloods.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. Are we seeing the end of the Ghostbloods in Mistborn Ghostbloods? Do they continue on into the Space Age? Are they absorbed into other Scadrian military organizations? Because it seems like it would be weird to have a dominant secret society on the planet with an expansionist colonial empire expanding into the Cosmere at the same time, at least to me. Yes.
Oh, yeah. The original plan for Mistborn was going to be a trilogy of trilogies. Then Brandon accidentally wrote Era 2.
He does that.
In his sleep.
Beyond Mistborn Era 3 theorizing, I think he's going to accidentally write another set of books here, so we get a full 16 books on Scadrial.
16. What's significant about that?
It's just a nice round number. It's divisible by 2 and 4. You know, 16's good.
And 8, yeah. But coming back to the Ghostbloods, you had some interesting theories about the Ghostbloods as well.
Yeah, well, actually, to Jason's point about like whether the Ghostbloods are going to be still a thing, at least as they are in like Era 2. So going again, spoilers, but like at the end of Wind and Truth, we do have Kelsier talking to Shallan and mentioning how he's worried about a Ghostblood civil war. And the fact that this whole era, at least the title is Ghostbloods. That's going to be the overarching, I guess you could say, theme or a group of people who they're going to be focusing on. I think that there is going to be a civil war or some kind of internal disruption within the organization, and also in the Sunlit Man, even Nomad talks about how the Scadrials are not unified. That there's different groups within their people, and so especially with what's his name, Delaval.
Yeah.
Known ghost
Rolls
blood.
off the tongue.
Delaval, name my fourth child that. But Delaval, at the end of the Lost Metal, like it was mentioned, you can definitely tell he's not liking being under Kelsier. And the fact that Shallan kills his sister, like I think that's going to lead to even more schisms within the organization. And whether it's going to be like a full-on this group versus this group, or maybe even like multiple factions, I think the Ghostbloods are going to end up, breaking apart. And that's even because I know someone had mentioned how there might be like a spy element to this era.
Yeah, Cold
I
War
could totally
era.
see it being something that what if the Ghostbloods are trying to spy on the Ghostbloods?
Yeah.
Discord among the Ghostbloods.
That's
Oh,
right.
hey.
Dude, put down the
I
black.
like being able to make large groups of people make random noises. This is really fun for me.
I mean, we might already be seeing the schism in the Ghostbloods, because Delaval, known Ghostblood, is now a senator or politician. So either he is fully infiltrated the Malwish Consortium's government, or he has left the Ghostbloods to do his own thing and pursue his own interests.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, too. We can already assume in some way, because we kind of separate the Rosharan Ghostbloods from the Scadrian Ghostbloods. And we know from a little bit from Ray's that Iyatul was kind of going rogue. She kind of took over on Roshar and did her own thing in a way. So there's already that. Then you've got Delaval, who perhaps, maybe Delaval was just mad he didn't get to go on the Roshar mission. It's like, I want a world hop. Yeah, I get it. He's from Silverlight, though, so it's like, you're kind of predisposed to it, but whatever. I think it's interesting to think about this tearing apart, because now we see the Roshar and Scadrial Ghostbloods, but maybe we have Elendel and Malwish Consortium Ghostbloods, or they're like chapters around. I think we can assume that Avon will get recruited. Maybe.
Or at least approached in some way,
Yeah. Who was upset with Marasi for not joining the Ghostbloods? A little bit?
I absolutely was.
Yeah. I mean, she's maybe alive because she might be alive. But if she is alive, I would assume it's largely in part because she didn't join the Ghostbloods. Seems a little like high turnover there. But there's also like this interesting thing that we see, when we get into the Emberdark and we meet Dazur, and he talks about kind of this same idea of the steel field. We also have, Bands of Mourning. We see these flying ships, and then we see the flying cars in Elendel. Is this do you think it's like competing Cold War technology that's happening? Do you think there was some kind of exchanging of knowledge before the Malwish got super upset about the Bands of Mourning and said, I'm never talking to you again, or whatever they might have said? Like, what do you think? Do you think it's the same technology, or that Elendel is like, oh, we need to catch up to them?
I think it's probably a combination of that. I mean, Elendel, the Basin has seen the technology of the Malwish at this point. By the end of Era 2, they know that flying cars are a capability. Like, planes can exist. to the Elendel Basin Knights. And so seeing that it can be done, especially with the amount of specifically allomantic powers that they have in the basin, I'm sure they found out a way to at least like hire coin shots to ride inside cars. I mean, they were doing that with coin shot messengers. They could probably do that with coin shot taxi drivers and just somehow boost allomantic powers in the basin itself. So I think it's based on the same technology, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if we see a Basinite and Malwish arms race to get to space, leading us to Era 3, or to 4.
Whatever.
Era next.
Yeah, whatever happens next. Yeah, I think too, another thing that I thought was interesting, especially going from where we see when we first meet the Malwish and Bands of Mourning, and some of them, they have different masks, but they're all pretty much covering their whole face in some way, or in their skin, which sounds uncomfy. But going from that to then jumping way forward in both Sunlit Man and Emberdark, now it's, like small pieces on the face.
Implant things.
Things. Or they keep changing. I think Dazier's is like some I don't know.
Yeah, he's got like an under nose thing. I thought that was specifically medical. But
I thought it was his mask. I thought because
that makes
Dusk
sense,
doesn't know.
'cause
Dusk is like, he's got a weird thing on his face.
There's a battle of a Lethala trauma, so.
Oh yeah, battle.
Yeah.
Rip.
Those battles that I'm sure we will find out about eventually.
Those weirdly
Brandon.
Rosharan named battles, Lethala, that sounds kind of
Vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that on the next, on the larger Cosmere scale, which I think is kind of largely the things that we're most interested in. But real quick, do you guys want to hear kind of a fun, silly, unhinged theory that we had? Will you show them Wayne?
Everyone, zoom in.
This is Little Wayne.
This is Wayne. We know at the end of Lost Metal, Wayne gets a statue with interchangeable hats and interchangeable dirty phrases. And it wasn't my theory. Whose theory was it? Was it yours, Odd?
I'm pretty sure it was hers, yeah.
Don't out me.
I mean,
it was all of ours. It was all of
no,
ours.
it's a collaborative theory
was my 3 months
may or
old.
may not have been spearheaded by Odd.
Well, because we see more awakened technology in the Cosmere as we keep going, which is super cool to see breaths everywhere. I'm hearing some.
Yeah, the wheels are turning. I'm seeing connections being made already.
So let's just say, I don't know. The Wayne statue gets awakened, right? You can awaken metal. The Wayne statue gets awakened with a command, such as, I think probably the most dangerous would be trade things. That'd be pretty scary. Or I think Jason was the one who came up with the sweet one.
Yeah, I think what could be good intentions but bad execution, kind of like destroy evil, would be help people, because you're meant to be helping people, right? That's a classic Wayne quote. Helping people, and he doesn't really know what they need, just that he has to help them.
The main reason why I'm afraid of the Shard of Mercy.
True.
Oh yeah, different planet. We'll get to that in a later panel.
Yeah, stick around for we're off-roading. we're gonna go rampant speculation. We're taking over.
By the way, if that did happen though, with the Wayne statue, he would need first of all, I would just lose my mind. But second of all,
I'd be like,
if it actually
inside my brain. It's so scary.
Well, no, and then they would just have to make him like a recurring character throughout the rest of the Cosmere.
Right. The awakened Wayne just pops up in the background of every future book.
It's like a giant metal creature. Bang! Something breaks.
So we're gonna have a giant metal Wayne fight a giant mist wraith creature.
Yes.
It's gonna just be giant robot Wayne versus the kaiju.
And then we'll bring in the evil. It's gonna be.
But this is end Cosmere stuff.
This is how the Cosmere gets destroyed.
Yeah. I read it. This is what Brandon wrote. Yeah, it's done. Okay, so moving on to the Cosmere, there's kind of a lot to talk about. which we've been touching on a little bit. But I'm going to kind of start this off by passing it off to Jason, because I think this might be your favorite.
I'm so excited. I have thought of so many diabolical uses for hemalurgy in the future.
Who has seen Jason's instructional hemalurgy video? It's incredible. If you really, in a
It's
pinch,
fun.
need to know how to create an Inquisitor, you need to go see Jasonian on YouTube, because he will teach you everything you need to know. Anyway,
All
please
right.
continue.
But first, we have talked about who, what, where, but we haven't really talked about when Ghostbloods. What we know is that the start of Era 3 is about 50 years after the end of the Lost Metal. So, what other large Cosmere events are happening at the same time that are on a ticking clock? We've got the return of Roshar to Cosmere Standard Time. That's on about a 70 to 80 year timer. So at the start of Era 3, we have between 10 and 20 years before the Rosharans return to the Cosmere main stage. We also don't know how long Era 3 is going to be in terms of like time. It could easily be that one of the climaxes at the end of the book, all the dust is settling from our adventures on Scadrial, and then knock on the door. Who's here? Retribution. I am pretty sure, this is one of my more solid theories, is that the return of Roshar to Cosmere Standard Time is going to happen in Ghostbloods, and it's going to shake things up and the direction of our characters immensely.
Well,
Yeah.
and something that's interesting about that is that if the Ghostbloods are having schisms within themselves, since they're supposed to be protecting the planets, or at least in theory,
Yeah, at least Scadrial. Scadrial first.
then what would happen if they completely shatter, and then, like you said, Roshar, you catch up to Roshar's time. They no longer have their avengers, so to speak.
Yeah, no united front
Yeah.
against Retribution, who's terrified of Retribution? I don't think enough of you.
Yeah, but more of you should raise your hands.
There's a lot there's so much to say about this. One thing that I think is really interesting is another thing that Brandon has said a little over the summer. I think he made like hey, here's my update. All that stuff I said I was going to do, not doing it. And here are the things I am going to do. And one of the things he talked about was the return of autonomy to like more trail stuff. He said more trail stuff, probably, that he was saving it for the third era, which I thought we already did this. What do you mean there's more? What do you mean there's more? And interestingly enough, our friend Zach, he's Lord Loopy the Khandra on Instagram and TikTok. He has this theory about the Ghostbloods, or two theories really, that are kind of on this scale. One of them being that Kelsier is going to continue trying to push Sazed into Discord, make it happen so that he's forced to do something, even if it's not great, or that the Ghostbloods are going to kind of go on a mission in a way to acquire autonomy for Harmony to pick it up, to be able to perhaps make more autonomous decisions about how to use the shards that he has the power over. That being said, autonomy is like not really autonomy, right? Like in the way that we understand it.
It's funky.
Yeah, it gets really tricky with autonomy.
Yeah, with the fact that autonomy specifically can create avatars of themselves and therefore be like autonomous from themselves. Is like you're getting Inception levels of concepts stacking on top of concepts here. So yeah, autonomy itself is sort of a strange thing in the Cosmere because they've got their fingers in a lot of pies, which makes them not really autonomous because they're influencing so many things, and yet it's funky.
Yeah, and not so much. The implication is almost that autonomy would that. I guess when I hear autonomy, my initial thing is like, oh great, it's going to push people to make their own decisions. But it's like, no, I'm making my decisions. And you're going to do the very efficient thing to make my decisions happen. Because Bilming runs perfectly. What did Brandon say in the spoiler Q&A yesterday? It was like, In Autonomy's town, yeah, the train comes on time. Everything's on time. That'd be the best convention. Autonomy would run the best convention, is what he said. I wouldn't go. Maybe a little nervous.
Really steep ticket price.
High barrier for entry. But kind of more on that retribution scale, do you think that it'll be, I think who else thinks that where we're moving in the Cosmere is to a dual shardic battle, or like a who can collect the most shards first, Sazed or Taravangian, and they face off. Is that the theory? Whimsy solos. Yeah, Whimsy's just gonna kick back and be like, whatever.
Slightly less scared of Whimsy than I am of Mercy.
Yeah, or the return of Dominion. However that might happen. Who went to the Music of the Cosmere panel this morning? Incredible. If you didn't, you missed out. Find a way to get in access to the music that they made for the different shards. It is ominous and terrifying for some of them, and beautiful and amazing for others. But I highly suggest checking them out. If you need it, I'll try to post the link or something so that people can have access to it. Anyway, going back to this, yeah, we'll just talk about whatever we want. It's my time. I'm Autonomy. Nice to meet you, Bavadin. I think, like, this idea, do we think Mistborn Era 3 is where we see that clash, or are we still gearing up? Are we going to lose one of them? No way Retribution goes down in Mistborn Era 3, right?
No, not at all.
To metagame a little bit, like we know that Brandon is writing Mistborn Era 3 and releasing it back to back with the Elantris sequels, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
that was the plan, at least. So that makes me think that there has to be some sort of massive interaction between the planet of Scadrial during Mistborn Era 3 and what's going on Cell, the sequel of Elantris. So is there any connection there? Like, we've seen one person from Elantris on Scadrial in Mistborn Era 2. We see Codenames Are Stupid, the daughter of
Kai'ine.
Yeah. And so there's already connection there between Scadrial and Cell. What is going to be what's the reason why Brandon is interspersing those books? Because there has to be something narratively that is causing us to get those releases back to back. Like, why he has to write them in this order to get things correct.
I think it might be because they're dealing with their own autonomy issue. There has been, you know how Brandon gives the classic Raffo with like a huge laugh before, which is obviously like a, you got it, but I can't say it. There was a Raffo he gave about whether or not the god of the Fjordell religion, the Drethi, I think that's, is autonomy, an autonomy seed. And his Raffo response was the laugh, like, ooh, you got it, but I can't say it. So I think that they might be dealing with their own autonomy, trying to usurp using a religion seed over there.
So is that the connection then? Are we going to see autonomy trying to take over two separate planets during the Mistborn Era 3, where we get stories from Scadrial and Cell? Is autonomy just going nuts in the Cosmere at this point?
Well, at the end of The Lost Metal, when Kelsier's talking to Harmony, says it, you know, he does say, you know, we need to make some alliances. And I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, one of the places he mentions is Cell. So that would make a lot of sense.
Shai mentions that that's the reason she's on the Ghostbloods, that she thinks there's going to be stuff coming in the near future that Cell needs to be ready for, and she's looking for allies for the planet.
Well, we also have that tidbit, the vision. Is it Renarin's vision of the Blackthorn in front of this white-walled city?
Holy moly.
Maybe it's not autonomy.
The ooze that just you like hear it go through the room. It's really fun.
It's electric. I love it. Let's do it again one more time. Can I get an ooh?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's a little scary.
That was an ominous ooh.
That was I was gonna say do it one more time. Oh, it's happening again. Okay. I think that what's interesting is it could go so many ways. It can go with autonomy's getting a little big for her britches, and she's trying to take over, and she's going to get rid of Sazed. and to pick up those shards herself, and then she'll face off against Taravangian. I don't know that I could root for her in the same way. Maybe she'll really win me over. Not likely. But perhaps. This idea of, is it retribution? Is it autonomy? Who's going to last? I'm going on now, my brain is like, and what about the evil? There's just so many questions. But that vision of the Blackthorn in front of this white-walled city, potentially Retribution's armies marching on Elantris, that with Cell being clearly becoming more linked with Scadrial, which is so exciting to me, personally. I need more Cell in my veins. Right in. But this idea of them becoming, maybe their fates becoming intertwined as this united front against Retribution. The more thinking also just about the Blackthorn in these environments, could we see the Blackthorn on Scadrial?
Anything is possible in the spiritual realm.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, with the releases of the Elantris sequels concurrently with Ghostbloods, are we going to see a Ghostbloods chapter on Cell?
Ooh,
Where Shy and Codenames Are Stupid got recruited.
That's a really cool idea.
I think what I love, someone asked a question, I think it was again Brandon, someone said something at the spoiler Q&A about how that chapter at the end of Wind and Truth where Hoyt is interviewing for a job is like the first chapter in Stormlight that's not on Roshar. And I think with the Ghostbloods series, we can maybe expect getting some world-hopping chapters. Mm-hmm. We've been in the sub-astral of Mistborn once. So maybe seeing more of that. There's just so many interesting questions about that. I think one last thing to touch on when we talk about the planet is the big elephant in the room of the Malwish's crazy expansionism into the entire. We've got them on Canticle, not caring at all about the Threnodites, my people. We've got them obviously. Really messing around with First of the Sun. Mm-hmm. What is their game, do you think? They're just trying to get as big as possible, or do you think it's like Harmony related, or just Ghostbloods related, or autonomy related? Maybe autonomy visits the Malwish.
What you got, Ulysses?
No, I guess it's just, I don't know. just knowing that there's someone on Scadrial, some group, that is trying to collect or essentially build an army or collect as much investiture collect as many weapons. Mm-hmm. I mean, was it in Isles of the Emberdark? I'm trying to remember. I think that was that one. Mm-hmm. But they basically mentioned that's kind of their goal. They're trying. It's basically an arms race between Scadrial and Roshar. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which we see a lot of interesting things. This isn't an Emberdark panel, but there's just so much to say with seeing the Malwish elsewhere. We see Rosharans. We see a Radiant in Isles of the Emberdark.
A legit Skybreaker.
Briefly, yeah. And it was a chapter that was released years before the book came out, so just saying. But this idea also of these Radiants, these Skybreakers, which seems to also be sort of what Deja might be talking about with the Battle of Ahelaha, and the sky on fire. Poor traumatized Deja, I guess. We can feel empathy, probably. But it's very interesting to think about sort of that next direction in terms of with the, remind me, what was I saying? Malwish?
Malwish. Mm-hmm.
With the Malwish going out and fighting against Roshar. We don't see it yet, but with Retribution, with everything, I think definitively what we can say is it starts in Ghostbloods. And I think one big question that I have that's more on a narrative side is this going to be the first series that, excluding Stormlight because it's not done. We're at the end of an arc, not the end of an era. Will this be the first series we get that has an ending that is just not good for us? Could we get like a reverse Hero of Ages at the end of Ghostbloods?
I think it wouldn't be unexpected or It could certainly be unexpected. I wouldn't be necessarily surprised for the end of Era 3 to be the Malwish completely obliterating the Elendel Basin. And that's why we haven't seen any actual Elendel, just northern Scadrians in the later half of the Cosmere that we've seen. We haven't seen anyone. It's only been Malwish. So, I mean, we have a few mentions of the language of do you speak Malwish or do you speak Basin? Like, but that only happens once. I think this could end with something happens with Harmony, aka Discord, and only the Malwish survive from Scadrial, and that's why they're expanding into the rest of the Cosmere.
Speaking of Malwish and potential war crimes, hemalurgy.
Hey! Oh yeah, get to it.
Yeah, so we see the Malwish utilize all sorts of magic and magic technology in the future, but we don't see much of hemalurgy. I think it might be because use of hemalurgy for military purposes is outlawed. Now, this idea came from Alamancer Jack, which is kind of weird, right? We see that Koloss are still capable of being made post-Kataszandra. Berserker troops, potentially.
They are a true breeding species.
But
now,
you
yeah.
can also make, like, full-on Koloss with spikes. So, what if, hypothetically, you had a lot of prisoners of war, and you wanted to psychologically traumatize the people you're trying to conquer? You turn the POWs into Koloss, you send them out, and you can control them with mechanized allomancy. Horrible,
Lovely.
horrible idea that came from Alamancer Jack, of all places, when I was reading it.
Who knew?
But yeah, I think that would be worth of a Silverlight Accord, Geneva Conventions, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, there's, I would like to shout out Zach one more time, Lord Loopy. He had one other theory that's kind of in a similar vein about maybe war crimes or other crimes committed by the Malwish. This idea of, and maybe not crimes, but this idea of, you know, we have the Fire Mothers and the Fire Fathers and blanked identity items. Yeah. Is this like a really dark thing where they're blanking people of identity? Is it Nigrosil that you blank identity with?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
no.
sounds right.
Yeah.
No, Nigrosil stores any investiture.
What's the one you blank identity with?
It's
Jason?
aluminum stores identity, right?
Aluminum?
Yeah, aluminum. Aluminum
I'm
stores
hearing some
identity.
memories. Got it. Okay. That these people are getting blanked of their identity and kind of consigned to this
Making the
life of-
unkeyed metal
yeah,
mines.
just storing heat, storing health. And that becomes the healthcare system on Scadrial. Or that, you know, you can work a job like as a fairing where you just blank your identity and you're really sick for a week and then you turn it in, it's like you're like blood cells, like donating plasma.
There are a lot of dystopian applications of allomancy and ferrochemy.
And like specifically mechanized access to it. The medallions can be used in diabolical and really uncomfortable ways.
Yeah, there's some stuff to be scared of. Are you scared of the Malwish?
I mean, only every night. No. But, you know, on that note, though, you know what would be interesting, though, is that, so say the Malwish, you know, they take over, like, all of Scadrial. If that led to maybe pockets or, like, a underground group of, like, Mistings, maybe a Mistborn, a granddaughter of Wax. They're like leading like kind of like a rebellion, and maybe they even team up with the Rosharans later.
Yeah,
That'd be super cool.
Let's say yay
Yeah.
for that because I really want that to happen. Underground misting revolution.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's fight the Malwish. Maybe. So real quick, we're getting to the end of our pre-Q&A time. We've got about 15-ish minutes left. So we want to hear some thoughts and theories from you. If you want to hop in.
Microphone right
Juicy
over here.
theories.
Yeah.
Let's get unhinged, guys.
Yeah. Do whatever your heart desires.
Before we jump into this, my unhinged theory. We talked about this when we were planning. The original concept for Mistborn Era 3 was serial killer Mistborn, right? What if the splitting of Harmony or the turning of Harmony into Discord also fundamentally affects his servants, aka Death, aka Marsh, and Marsh turning more to Discord becomes a serial killer in Mistborn Era 3, and they have to actively kill death on Scadrial in order to prevent, war crimes.
Why would you say that?
We got quite a few questions here.
What you got?
First, thank you for just shattering any notions I had about knowing what's happening.
We got you.
Okay, so this one's more about Era 4. So yeah, it's about the Ghostbloods versus the Malwish. So in Ember Dark, the Malwish hate the Sleepless because of a certain thing one of them did. Hoyt says that one of the Ghostbloods have at least one Sleepless. I think
They do.
in Rhythm of War. So I'm guessing that, yeah, it's the Ghostbloods acting against the Malwish with that Sleepless.
That makes great sense.
They're the underground Mistborn
Yeah.
movement you guys were just talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe.
I love that. Yeah, nice.
like that theory.
Good question.
Good specific thing to notice. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you again. But my question was that we know that Harmony wanted to he was forging wax as a sword. So is it possible to assume that his other personality, Discord, will also create a sword and that will be the Discordant? It might not be wax, but I assumed that it was going to be one of Wax's descendants to be formed by Discord instead of Harmony.
Like Maxillian, maybe?
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea.
Or Tyndall.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Shout
So
out
the
Brian.
Discordant is not just a random crazy person or sickness
Yeah.
but specifically a servant of Discord.
Yeah.
Like
that's
it.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, I like that.
Hi. So I wanted to ask a question and share my main theory. So, and also I just want to mention the idea of the Discordant being a sickness made me think of the Avilius Chronicles, if anyone else has heard of that, which was just kind of funny to me. So, my main theory is that, like, I've heard that Kelsier is going to be one of the main villains in Era 3, which, I mean, that's just speculation. I have no idea if that's true, but my kind of main theory was that Avon was going to be recruited into the Ghostbloods and then kind of be pulled to Yaddle's brother's side, which I forgot his name.
Delaval.
Delaval, okay.
It's very Thalen sounding.
yeah, it
That's
is.
interesting. Okay.
Be pulled to that side and then be enemies with Kelsier, which would make him like a villain in it. But also a question of, we know in the preview chapters somebody's name got redacted because who do you think that could be? Like, with
I think that
theories
the
on who that could be?
redacted name was Brandon was doing the reading at Worldcon, and
Yeah.
he uses that word circumlocute by implying Sazed, saying that so the mist is like tickling her wrist. The mist is playful,
Yeah.
is the word that's used. And the narration says that, she feels as if it's a piece of her heritage, which it may as well be, because even though Blank didn't have any children, someone very close, to him was
okay, yeah.
her lineage. So that's how we kind of can infer that Tyndall is this person, because we would have had in the Words of Founding probably a nice 2 or 3 long chapters about Tyndall, I would hope.
Yeah.
But because, I think after he redacted the name, and then in the video he said, I told you I'd circumlocute, or something like that, to
Yeah.
try to avoid spoilers. But, which I understand. But yeah, so I'd say it's Sazed, I think.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
First crackpot theory, Spook is still alive and we'll see him in Era 3.
And you're
100%.
I
right.
would love that.
1000%.
Yes.
Second, we've seen that Vin was able to get trace amounts of pewter drinking from glasses, and so the explosive ending at the end of Lost Metal possibly deposited a large amount of Lerasium into the basin, and so maybe we have a Lerasium soup in the ocean.
Wow. Lerasium.
Mistborn Fish.
Bring back the Mistborn.
Mistborn Fish.
Lerasium fallout. That's so cool.
Or the people who eat the fish.
It's hard to follow up that, but another fun theory is we've seen a bunch of Malwish amulets, and one of the ones we've seen only a little bit of is connection amulets that they use to give the ability to learn languages fast. But that connection just gives a connection to a person or a place. Crackpot theory, they're going to have Wax have an amulet, and his descendant is going to be able to channel Wax through it to get his skill set.
Oh.
So it'll be like and so you'll have some when you connect with, but it might be a limited charge, so you can only use so much wax connection before he's all the way gone.
Oh wow.
That's interesting.
Like his resonance.
Like his resonance, it's like you can get some advice, but also the skill set. So it could just be like a little narrative tool.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, like medallion basically connected to a cognitive shadow.
Kind of, but it wouldn't be a cognitive shadow because it would only be
Yeah.
It would only be a connection shadow because Duralumin is connection.
Right.
So it'd be a connection shadow versus a cognitive.
That's really
I
cool.
dig that. That's really
That's
cool.
dope.
More invested beings to add to the types. Someone write Basher.
Oh gosh.
So my theory is that Shallan is going to be in Mistborn Era 3. That she is actually currently stuck in the cognitive realm or whatever realm it is, and she can't get back, and she's finding it hard. I think she's going to have to make the actual decision to leave Roshar as a spy, which is her due. It's what she is, which is actually going to cause a lot of that conflict between the Ghostbloods, because Kelsier's not deciding to kill her. He has to. He's supposed to. He knows that if he doesn't, it's going to cause conflict. So I don't think she's necessarily going to be a villain or a good guy, but she's going to be a third party that we're going to see, and it's not going to be directly referenced as her, that we're going to have to figure it out throughout all the stories. And I think I believe she's pregnant, and I think her child or children,
Twins.
depending on the theory, maybe. I'm not on board on that one 100%, but that is going to be one of the big hints whenever she shows up, is because it's also going to be in correlation to her kids, who will be full grown at the time. Because she's going to be traveling, and she's going to be traveling through time,
through the time dilation.
Through the time dilation, so she's going to be older, but not as old as 50 years. Because we know that the Lost Metal and all of that was after Wind and Truth.
Yeah.
We know that Wax's story is between Wind and Truth and the next series.
It's during Kelsier's conversation with Shallan as the entire Era 2 happens.
6 years. Oh my goodness.
I do not appreciate all of the references to Malwish and war crimes.
So sorry, this is a Deja cosplay, which looks amazing, by the way.
Thank you. I think that there are two sets of the Iriali, because we know that they leave Roshar at the end of Wind and Truth, but they're like leaving in the epilogue, and there's that time dilation, and I don't think there's enough time for them to have gotten to Bilming by the time of like the Lost Metal and Era 2. So I think there's two sets.
Interesting.
I would agree with that. I want to comment on this really quickly.
Yeah.
I would agree with that because with the Iriali, we know that Tress is in the future, and we know that the Iriali were on Lumar. Is Lumar? Yeah. I was like in the room, Lumar. They were on Lumar for enough time to kind of have become like some kind of a like not ruling class, but they were
their own
nobility
kingdom,
kind of.
they were
nation.
And
presence,
then they
definitely.
they've been gone for 300 years by the time we get to Tress. That there's no way, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that they could have all gone to Scadrial, set up shop there, gotten their experience, and then left for Lumar, been there for enough time to be established, and then leave for be gone for 300 years. So I agree. I think maybe the Iriali, and we see some Iriali kind of in Silverlight and just in the Emberdark. So I think they're just kind of, some of them are just like, screw the long path. Yeah, I'm done walking.
That's the next video topic I'm working on, actually, the Iriali. And I am inclined to agree. I think there's multiple groups on different versions of the Long Trail. So.
My question. Go ahead.
Well, I was just telling them we got 9 more people after.
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is actually kind of about the Iriali as well. They're hinted at in Era 2 in the broadsheets, and so we kind of know some of them are on Scadrial, which takes place after Wind and Truth, where they're leaving Roshar. So my question is, do you think we'll see Nomad, who has a Dawn Shard that he needs to use at some point?
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too.
What did the guy who flew in the Lost Metal look like?
I don't remember.
I don't remember this. You read the book.
Oh
most
yeah,
recently.
no,
There was
There
someone
were
who was very
radiants.
intrigued about the law and then flew off.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
So-
yeah. What did he look like?
Okay.
That's a
Thank
great
you.
question. I like that. My personal theory is that Sigil will go back to Roshar. But that's not, we're not on Roshar today, again. And I'm going to keep taking questions for the next 6 minutes, but I'm just going to put up our information so you guys know where to find us and show appreciation for your Spacer Con staff. But I want to keep taking questions until they kick us out.
So, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Since shards are linked to their distinct investiture systems, does the combining of shards, as we've seen recently, influence or weaken the magics present on those systems? And if so, will new or like hybrid systems kind of emerge out of these combining of shardic intents?
Go, Jason.
It's like interesting.
Yeah.
I've got thoughts, but it'll take me a bit to
I think
articulate
it's
them.
possible. I think what we see there's more precedent for is time dilation, because all of these beings were part of one being at first. So I can see them working together to create something new, but I think more often we see what's kind of a resonance between these two shards, because we have on Scadrial, there's precedent for this already. We have preservation, making allomancy. We have ruin, fueling hemalurgy. And the friction between the two is what creates feruchemy. So that's already there.
Yeah.
First of all, I hate that you brought up the theory of Marsh being the serial killer, because that's one of my greatest fears. He's been through enough. He doesn't need any more.
Yeah, that's my man. That was so rude of you.
I think it'd be super fun. Carry on.
My unhinged theory, which is really more of a hope, is that somehow the bands of mourning get refilled. Marsh finds them and uses them, maybe even in some kind of battle against Discord.
Interesting.
Those dang
So
things.
Marsh, the servant of harmony, helps to solve the Discord problem.
Discord.
Okay, I dig that.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, really unhinged theory here. But so Kelsier wants like as much investiture stuff as possible so that he can get back to physical form. What if, as Wayne, like after he dies, he goes and makes a cognitive shadow of Wayne so that he can send him out and use his special skills of being weird to find information. Then Wayne, but Wayne being weird would probably turn on him and go to the other weird person who's most similar to him, Hoyd.
Wayne and Hoyd.
Wayne Hoyd, Monkey's Paw
Wayne
Curls.
Hoyd, the Lopin and Lift, go on an adventure. I like that. Speaking of Hoyd.
Oh, hello there. Some of y'all have probably already heard this. Anti-light, form of anti-investiture, implies its presence elsewhere in other magic systems, implies that since shards are just a ton of investiture, you could retune an entire shard into its anti-form. Perhaps that's what would happen with Harmony and Discord. They're not exact opposites. They're like phase shifts. So that's my crackpot theory.
That's
I
really fun
like
theory.
it.
Thank you.
All right, I don't have a theory, I have a question for you guys. So, considering where the epilogue of The Lost Metal ends up, what do you think the relationship between Harmony and Kelsier and the Ghostbloods is going to look like in Era 3?
I got theories. Okay.
I got some.
So, in the conversation we see between Kelsier and Sazed, Sazed, we see directly lies to Kelsier. And Kelsier takes it at face value because Kelsier thinks that Sazed is a bad liar. At this point, Sazed is obviously not, which means he's doing something fundamentally against the character that we know of Sazed back in Era 1. So, I think, yeah, Kelsier is going to, I mean, if he finds out that Sazed lied to him, Kel is gonna try and take out this shard and do something again, because he will believe that Sazed is no longer his friend, no longer the person that he believed was part of his crew, right? So I definitely think there is going to be some friction between the Ghostbloods, specifically Kelsier, and Sazed, whatever is going on with him. Absolutely.
Do you think Kelsier is going to try and, like, remove Sazed from, like, try and force Sazed to give up the shards?
Definitely not out of the question.
Okay,
What did
thank
you
you.
think of these?
Oh yeah, basically I just agree, especially with since at the end he sort of tells him like, if I have to protect the planet from you, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we've got time. We've got a minute and a half, so I think one more.
Okay, so first of all, bands of mourning are drained.
Yep.
And I feel like that's a very overlooked thing in this conversation. Because Steris says, she's like, wait, I rehearsed practicing saying things, and this guy seems like he's practiced this. And second, what if Kelsier were to turn against Sazed, and then Marsh has to help Sazed to stop him? And then it's just like, that could totally collapse Kelsier and Harmony, or like pick your two, right?
I mean, I expect Kelsier to get the Bands of Mourning. Like, he's the sovereign, right? He's going to come back and try and get what is rightfully his and use that in some way in Era 3.
So, real quick, I think the Bands of Mourning are drained deliberately, and that Harmony was directly
agreed.
puppeting Tensoon in that scene to push the two towards conflict.
Real quick.
First, excuse me for my English, I'm not exactly fluent, but I wanted to talk not exactly about a theory, but more of a reminder, because I think it's an important factor to keep in mind when talking about sharp interactions. Retribution is actually a creation of Dalinar. He planted the seed, and it's part of his plan. So I guess that for the history to make sense, Retribution has to collapse by itself. By what Dalinar planned, and his plan has seals of approval. So I think that's pretty plausible.
No, that makes
Absolutely,
sense.
yeah.
Thank you.
I've got theories on Retribution, but different planet.
Another day.
One more.
Oh,
yeah.
one more?
Tell
Yeah.
us. I'm excited.
Okay, I do kind of have a crackpot theory here. So we
Lay it
have
on us.
seen, to avoid some spoilers, a romantically aware off-worlder talking about connections with Cell, Chief taking on the Shaod. And we have seen on Scadrial a member of the Ghostbloods use an Essence Mark to also take on the Shaod. And when I think Cold War, I think prolifertarianism, right? Like, we got to get the biggest weapons and use them. And the Malwish have the Bands of Mourning. I'm wondering if we see, because Kelsier has met the Ire, who are also Elantrians, sending Ghostbloods to Cell to try to, cause it's contrived, it doesn't really work, but try to take on the Shaod to take Elantrian magic.
I mean, he's there for the purified door. He's
Right.
already trying to get as much investiture to the planet as he can. I can totally see that.
Because I think if Kelsier can realize how broken Aeon Door is, you can do whatever you want with access to it. You're going to see him going, well, that's the most powerful thing. So if I can get door to the planet and access to manipulate it directly, then I don't think he'll be able to do it, frankly, right?
Yeah, the guy from Fortnite would just clear everything.
Yeah, but I think we see him trying to do that to get the biggest stick that he can to use against the
and we
Malwish.
see in Trust, we see an Elantrian who they're not supposed to be able to use it away from Elantris,
Well,
but she's using it
there's
pretty
a reason.
prolifically.
We're using it pretty well.
Crackpot theory, in relation to that crackpot theory, would it be possible for a connection medallion to be used to make you enough connected to Cell to then go experience the Shaod and become an Elantrian, even though you're not actually born there?
All right, thank you so much, everyone. You guys have been fantastic.
Oh, if you'd like to hop over here to this side, we've got about 15 minutes until the next panel starts. So if you'd like to talk to us more about your crackpot theories, please come on over here. We would love to keep talking to you before this next panel.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
You've been so fun.